Hello, Dr. G here from naturalfoodsdiet.org, and I'm a believer in natural foods. So today we're going to talk about something that I think is important, and this is omega-3 eggs. I went into Whole Foods the other day. I wanted to buy some eggs. I'm looking at organic, free range, all these different terms. But the most consistent pattern I saw was omega-3, 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 omega-3. I'm going, hey, I don't want an omega-3 egg. Don't they have omega-3 free eggs? I mean, I don't know. But most of the eggs had omega-3. So obviously, this is a huge bandwagon. Now, why might we not want omega-3 eggs? Well, for one thing, that's probably not a natural food for chickens. I mean, chickens don't eat sardines, which are high in omega-3s. At least they wouldn't naturally eat sardines. I've never seen chickens going out into the surf and swimming out to catch little fish. Now, chickens will eat flaxseed. The problem with flax is that's ALA, which is one of the omega-3s. So the omega-3s are ALA, DHA, and EPA. And the ones that are most important for humans, for our nervous system, are DHA and EPA. So taking in ALA doesn't necessarily increase those important fatty acids that feed our nervous system. Now, we do convert ALA to EPA and DHA, but the conversion is like 1 to 3%. So we're not going to get a whole lot of the EPA and DHA from eating ALA. The other problem with feeding ALA to chickens is ALA and all of the omega-3 fatty acids have multiple double bonds. This makes them highly susceptible to peroxidation, which basically is going rancid, and going rancid means that it's poisonous. We shouldn't eat a lot of rancid fats. So one of the concerns is in these big feeding operations for chickens, they let the feed go rancid, so the chicken's eating rancid food, and you get a rancid chicken. I don't know. Sounds good. What is another downside if there's a lot of omega-3s in an egg? Well, the other downside is these fatty acids break down and go rancid quickly. So guess what? Your eggs are going to have a shorter shelf life. You need to refrigerate them. You need to eat them fairly quickly. I know sometimes I let eggs sit around for weeks before I eat them. Well, that wouldn't be a good idea with the omega-3 eggs. Now, there's another way they're making omega-3 eggs these days. They're taking the DHA that are made by microalgae and feeding those to chickens, and that increases the DHA content of eggs. Well, that sounds great because we know DHA is highly critical for our nervous system. In fact, I've told you before in other videos that DHA is an extremely unique molecule in nature. It takes photons from light and turns it into electricity, which is pretty exciting. The DHA allows quantum effects with electron flow. And that's how life functions, in my opinion. But, and this is a big but, the problem is this is a highly processed food. They have to extract DHA out of the microalgae. They take it away from its normal structure inside the cell. It will have a tendency to break down. So I like to go with, as I mentioned earlier, the natural foods diet. Get it the way it is in nature. Now, when DHA is in the membranes of fish cells and other seafood, it is much more stable and much less likely to oxidize. All right, so how do you get an omega-3 egg? That's a topic today. How does Dr. G get omega-3 eggs? Well, I have a secret trick that you can try at home. All right, we start with pastured eggs. No label, no omega-3. Went to a local farm. Asked them, do you let your chickens go out in the fields to forage? And you can't believe the farmer always. You either have to go out to the farm, or another way you can do it is crack open the egg if it has an orange yolk, or even better, a reddish yolk. then more likely that chicken has been foraging out in nature, whereas if the yolk is pale yellow, it's probably less likely, and they're probably feeding it commercial feed. Now, one of the worst commercial feeds that they feed chickens is the GMO soy, and they feed that to chickens a lot. All right, so how do we cook eggs? Today we're going to fry the eggs. Remember, when you fry eggs, you want to do it on low heat. You want to keep the yolks runny. There is cholesterol in the yolk. Cholesterol is good for you. Cholesterol is the backbone for all of our sex hormones. So we want cholesterol, although our body can make cholesterol. It's so important our body can make it. But we don't want to burn cholesterol. All right, we use coconut oil, organic virgin coconut oil, which contains medium chain triglycerides. So it's a very healthy saturated fat that we can eat and will help boost our metabolism. We put that on a fairly high heat just in the beginning to warm it up, but then we want to turn the heat way down so we don't burn our eggs. Okay, so I'm going to turn down the heat here, and let's take a couple of eggs, crack it. One, and we'll just make a couple of eggs here. Two. All right, now I'd like to turn the heat down, way down to a simmer, as low as it will go, and just let the yolk or the white cook underneath the yolk. And how do I make it an omega-3 egg? Just because an egg is pasture-raised doesn't mean it's necessarily higher in omega-3s. So I have a secret that I'm going to let you in on. I don't tell too many people these deep secrets, but I'll tell you. All right, the way I make my eggs omega-3 is I go to the Oriental Market and I get some gray sardines. Gray sardines, okay. High in omega-3s. Let me tell you about this sardine. It has its head attached. Why is that important? The eye is the most abundant source of DHA is in the eye of the animal, and then also the nervous system. So we want the whole fish. We don't want to cut off the head. And with a little fish, that makes it easy. So we put a few of these gray sardines over the top of the eggs. And what I'll do is I will let the whites cook underneath, and then when they're solidified, that it's solid enough that I can turn it, I'll take the spatula, turn it over to cook the fish, but just briefly to cook the fish and the white that's over the yolk, but try to leave the yolks runny. So that's one way to have omega-3 eggs. Now, these fish have a little bit of a bitter taste. My guess is it's because the liver is still in there, and the bile, and the guts, and so you're tasting those a little bit bitter. So what I do to hide that bitter taste is I load it up with some kind of flavoring, and today I will use some organic salsa. So this is the best way, the safest way, the natural foods way to get omega-3 eggs. I would not get the eggs that have been sprayed by the microalgae DHA until they do the studies to prove that it's not harmful. Because when you do a highly processed technique like that, you don't know for sure. Is it good? If we eat something from nature, I think we can assume it's probably okay. Something that's highly technical like that, I think we should do some safety studies first. I wouldn't eat chickens that have been given flaxseed because of the rancid nature of that feed in a very short time, and also because the eggs will not keep as long once you get them home. If you have any suggestions for how you can get healthy omega-3 eggs, please post a comment below. This is Dr. G. Thanks so much for watching.